there was a big debate at Hofstra University, the first debate, but their third debate overall. What a boon it was for that school. What do you guys think about what happened last night?
Oh, you mean third debate at Hofstra? Yeah, they've gotten the third. This is the third time they've gotten the first debate.
Consecutive
That's awesome.
campaign cycles. Joining us right now live from New York, we've got Laura Ingraham. Good morning to you.
Well, good. Is it morning? I don't know. I was with Andy at 2 in the morning at Hofstra.
Really?
Monica Crowley and I were in a car coming back into the city. You know what she said, and Ainsley will appreciate this. She said, Laura, you're going to have no time to get ready for Fox and Friends, so just sleep in your eye makeup, take off your foundation, and wake up, and that'll all be done. I said, Monica, I'm going to mention that. The first thing I go on, it's like, handy tips from Monica Crowley.
That is so funny, because Brian and I had the same conversation.
Isn't that? Yours looks great. I love what you did to shaping.
Thank you. I left my rouge on from
waxing.
Sunday.
You took a little too much off on the top.
Oh, really?
Kill me,
Fantastic.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the debate last night. You know, people were tuned in. She didn't pass out. She didn't cough.
She looked good.
He didn't look crazy, and he had, you know, he had a temperament that seemed presidential.
I think that montage, first of all, whoever just edited that montage did a great job. Fantastic. And I think that actually did capture last night. Strength, strong. He comes out in pretty much every answer like, I'm in charge. And I understand, you know, the people who watch every question say, oh, he should have left this. He shouldn't have left this on the table. He should have mentioned the Clinton Foundation. I was doing that because this is what we all do.
Yep.
But he's a builder. He's a businessman. He's an agent of change in the community, and he wants to change Washington. So I think, like, if you just do debate scoring, maybe she came out a little bit ahead, but today, it's still the same election as it was yesterday. It's a change election.
But keep in mind, there was momentum. If the polls say the same, that means momentum stopped. Do you believe the momentum will continue?
I think he's going to go into the next debate, and we'll see that. I'm not sure, to tell you, to be perfectly candid. I don't know, but I think, again, this election last night, we saw someone, as he said, who's been around for 30 years, and she does have experience. But the experience is one of failure, time and again. And that stays with you in this debate. I don't think that leaves, even if Hillary's polished, and again, I think she looked good. She obviously did have the stamina. And I think each of these experiences for Trump will be a learning experience. She's done the one-on-one debates time and again.
What does he need to do preparing for the next debate?
I think what's always helpful, and I find this, I'm going to be debating with Newt Gingrich on Friday in Toronto, and, you know, we have our own game plan. But
Wait, aren't you both on the same side?
We are, but we're debating two very crafty liberals and, on Friday. But you have a few points, and you really always kind of work your way back to those points. Hillary Clinton is part of the corruption machine in Washington. We've seen where her ethical ratings are, and for good reason. She profited off of her position at the State Department when she was supposed to be serving the people. That's one. Number two, she says the economy's fine. Is it? You all feel like the country's going in the right direction? I don't think so.
Right.
We've tried her way. Now it's my turn. It's our turn. We're going to turn this thing around. And number three, foreign policy, what she's in charge of, is in chaos. The Middle East is in chaos. She applied all of her, you know, frequent flyer miles to, you know, being Secretary of State, but it didn't work. I'm going to put you first. And no matter what gotcha questions are asked tonight, you're still my #1 priority. And I'm really grateful to be here tonight. I've really learned a lot in the last year. Those moments of grace, which we've all seen Trump have, I want to see those a little bit more in the next debate, and a little bit of charm. You know, a little bit of charm, a little punch, a little hug, a little charm, strength. But I think he had, you know, bits and pieces of that last night. I think the next debate you'll see a little bit more.
It probably didn't change anybody's minds. If you liked him going in, you liked him.
Yeah, there's a lot of smug Democrats today, and they're like, "See, I told you so. He couldn't perform on the big stage." I don't think that's the way most people are looking at this. I think most people are looking at this as Hillary Clinton can talk a good game, but in the end, what did her policies and her actions accomplish for the everyman? And whether the debate was, scored on her behalf or not, in the end, I don't think that really matters in this election. I really don't.
Independents, undecideds. That's the key. So most people talk to people in their own party, so you're not going to get a real response. So what are you looking for? What poll do you say, well, this is really my bellwether?
I want to see where the college-educated voters are in the millennials after this debate. I want to see those two figures. I also want to see where the woman vote is after this debate. I think when Hillary came up, like, this is what you treat women. Oh, is this all? I'd be like, is this all you have? You've been in public life for almost 3 decades, and you're doing the 8th grade thing with me,
Yeah.
why don't we talk about what's happened to this country under
Sure.
your watch? I'd turn all that on her, because that's the kind of stuff people are really tired of. And I think that's another reason why people don't like the media. Lester Holt gave her a lot of assists last night. Rudy was right earlier, no doubt about it. But Trump, I think, was expecting that the media is not going to be, 100% fair to a conservative Republican. It's not going to happen.
You mentioned the talking points and how he needs to have these 3 or 4 talking points that
I
he
think
can
it's
talk around
helpful.
to. We asked him about that today, and he said sometimes it's hard when you're asked a question about something totally off Benghazi to get it back to Benghazi. So it's hard to get back to those talking points.
She did it. She did it last night
It's
several
hard to
times.
understand,
She's
but
been
what'd
doing
she
it
do?
30 years.
So she did it on the woman question. They weren't talking about the way he treated women. They were talking about, I can't remember what it was, but she dovetailed it back to, well, and by the way, or you do say, like, look, this is what I'm focusing on for the American people. Or, I think that's a good question, but let's take a step back. And let's really look at the broad picture of what's happened in America. There's little rhetorical tools that you can use that are just common debate tools that, again, you have to practice.
We don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah, and I think, again, we're thinking every person watching this is with a notepad and going, okay, she got this, he didn't mention Benghazi, oh, wait, she made this point, and he didn't mention the Clinton Foundation.
Right.
Most people want a strong America and things to change for the better, whether they're partisan or not.
Right.
They want things to be better for our country.
Well, you just mentioned Benghazi, Clinton email, and also the Clinton Foundation. Those are things that Lester Holt never asked about.
Cybersecurity. He asked the cybersecurity, Steve, with a straight face to Hillary Clinton.
But instead,
Trump didn't say it.
Didn't pick up the ball and run with it.
And Trump got grilled on his tax returns, on the Iraq War, when he was a private businessman, on the Bertha thing, bankruptcies.
But again, but those are all to be expected. The Bertha question is that's at the top of the list.
How did you think he responded to it?
Well, I think we spent too much time on it. I mean, everyone knows watching me. I'm going to tell you what I think. Spent too much time on it. What I would have done is said, oh, really? First of all, I put that to rest. Lester, why are you obsessed with this question? And do you think at this point, the point is where President Obama was born, or what was born out of 8 years of failed policies? You take one of their words, you turn it, and then you make your point. But you don't sort of. I wouldn't have spent 5 minutes on the
He was
Bertha thing.
explaining
It's
the backstory.
That was
we don't want the
painful.
backstory. We don't want the backstory. We want the story of America. And I want a few more anecdotes from the trail. Hillary's very good at weaving in those personal anecdotes. We want more anecdotes. Well, Janet Matheson came up to me last week. She's a mom, single mom, 2 kids. She has not enough money put away in a bank account for a rainy day. Let me tell you, I'm here tonight for her. We need some of those moments of grace and moments of personal narrative and storytelling that stays with people.
I mean, here's an example. You have a guy that decided to invest in wealthy high-rises. Okay, that's where he wants to invest it. Other people want to, make wine or make beer. This is what he tried to do. Doesn't mean he doesn't like poor people. But now that he's traveling the country, I'm fascinated when the cameras are down. What is it like meeting a group of people in different areas of the cities and in suburbs that you never met before? What have you learned from traveling the country, even at the age of 7?
Right, and we all learn. Don't we all learn when we travel around the country? And I know he does. I know he learns. I know he's deeply touched by the victims of crime.
He was moved by Detroit.
I think Donald Trump in Detroit and Donald Trump maybe in Mexico, those were moments for him that I think it's a narrative he wants to repeat. Now, you can't do that every time. But it's good to have a moment where you step back and you say, as we're closing tonight, I just want to say what a privilege it is to be here.
Or the flooding in Louisiana. Remember when he went down
he was
there?
phenomenal. Yeah. But the idea that, like, Donald Trump's a businessman doesn't care about that's ridiculous. But, again, I think most people see that. And I think most people know that. But you need to drive that home. You need to put Hillary away in this next debate. You can't wait to the 3rd debate to put her away. I'd put her away in the next debate. And he can do it, absolutely.
We were talking in the green room area, and you said that, because the way we watch TV, where we've got a pad and like this, but the average person at home, walking in and out, going to the kitchen.
Yeah, they're like, well, she looks pretty good. I'm like, he's not insulting her. And, she looks better than she looked, at 9/11. So, it's a draw. I think most people look at it.
She was conscious.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. The metaphor didn't play out, but I think most people watch this and they think, they're still at each other's throats, and my life is still
I know we have time for this, but the next debate's at Town Hall.
Yeah.
So people are going to be asking questions. He's most likely going to be on his feet. They're going to be going in and out of each other. Tell me about the skill set he brings to the table. Is that going to be harder?
Now, I think when you see him one-on-one with people, as I have, as many of us have, that's his strength. He's so kind and he's so gracious to the individual, to the mom, to the factory worker, to every man. And you see him, whether it's on the street or in a crowd or even at one of his venues, his clubs, the people know he really cares. Thank you for what you did to my family last week. I really appreciate that. We need to see those moments. Just because you're criticized on every point or on certain points, you don't have to respond. You say, you know something, I understand why you're making that point, but let me tell you the way I see it. Yeah. Or I get what you're saying there. That's a good point. I don't quite agree with the way you framed it, but let me tell you about my story of what I've seen in America. I think to kind of take it down a little, take it down a notch, and listen. Well, sometimes listening is just a really good thing to do.
Some are comparing him to Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton is known to do that kind of thing. And I know when I met Donald Trump for the first time, he was talking about the ratings on our show. I'm like, I don't even know what the ratings are necessarily.
But he cares about what you're doing.
He had looked it up.
Put your arm around someone and say, gosh, thank you for being here for me. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for sharing your concerns. He does that beautifully. I hope we see that at the next debate.
Well, I just think in the big picture, it might actually come down to a ground game that I know the RNC is extremely confident on. It might come down to money, where Hillary seems to have more money than. We have not seen any television ads come out for any consistency. Very curious to see if this very different style of campaigning is going to change politics
forever. Facebook ads alone, I don't think do it. I really don't. I think you need to have some presence on the airwaves, and I think the ads have to be more than just cut, paste, flag waving. Yep. I think it's got to be the faces of America. This is what we've lost in America. This is what we're going to have. And you need to see some sunshine at the end. I'm coming. Help is on the way. You know, the sun's about to come out, and I'm on your side. I want to see those ads end with I'm on your side.
Yeah.
She's on the big donor side. He didn't talk about the big donors enough last night. She's on their side. They're with her. I'm with you.
All right. Laura Ingraham's got to go do her radio show, got to go edit.
What do I know? I'm just a radio host and a website person. I don't know. That's my debate on now.
Thank you very much.
An hour of sleep last night?
Yeah, at least an hour, yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.